Hello and welcome back to the Jessica Pinelli podcast. How are we going? We're doing a solo episode today, and we're going to speak about a topic that I have had so many conversations around, not just with clients, but with friends. Questions around this type of topic that I was answering and having conversations around, even when I was a personal trainer, even when I was a gym manager. It is definitely one of those questions that I repeatedly get asked. I repeatedly have conversations about, and I completely understand why. I think it's such an important conversation. But before we get into that, if you're watching here on YouTube, number one, I appreciate you so much. But if you keep coming back and you're watching these videos and you're loving it, I would absolutely love if you hit the subscribe button, if you hit the thumbs up. It really does support my channel and it allows it to be pushed out to other like minded, high achieving women. And then we can all get in on the conversation. And if you're listening on your hot girl walk while you're driving in your car, I would love it when you have a moment to give it a 5-star rating, to leave a review, tag it on your story, slide into my DMs. If you don't want to tag on your story and put it on your story, slide into my DMs. Let me know what you loved about the episode. Let me know what type of podcast episodes you want to listen to. I love having conversations with you guys. If you're here on YouTube, start a conversation in the comments below. But let's get into it. We're going to talk about purpose. One of the questions I get so much is, how do I figure out my purpose? I don't know my thing. I don't know when I'm going to find this purpose. And I believe, and I used to think this, I believe that we think that this purpose is like somewhere in a box. And then one day in life, we just find this box and we pick it up and we open the box and our purpose is laid out there. And I kind of used to see it like this. I'm like, okay, one day is just going to happen. But the first thing to kind of burst that bubble is knowing that every single day you are living your purpose. Now, before you click off this video, before you hit the stop, the pause button on your iPhone or your Android, I just want you to understand that the culmination of who we have become, what we value, our belief system, something I spoke about, just a side note to my masterminders last night at time of this recording, last night in the mastermind call was this idea that yes, we can look at our belief system, but I want you to directly correlate the word beliefs with rules. What rules are we living by? And these rules have created our values. It creates what we're doing each and every day. It creates us to be either responsive or reactive. And so then it creates our reality, right? And just don't worry, stick with me because this is all going to make sense. And so the biggest thing to start to do, the first, like, this is like an introduction, like a preface, is that's what it is in a book, a preface, and then we get into the chapters, is you need to get so fucking interested in yourself. You need to get so fucking interested. If we're looking at life like a school, like the school of life, you need to get a PhD in yourself, right? That is the first thing when it comes to figuring out your thing, your purpose, not hoping it's going to come in a box or it's going to fall from the sky. You are living in it, but to understand exactly what that means. And we're going to go into some questions to help with this, but to really understand, like, okay, Jess, if I'm living in it, then what is it? What is the answer? You have to get to know yourself. And what do we talk about all the time here on the podcast is building our self trust. That is a part of it. I've done many recordings on this. So just scroll back a little bit to listen to any episodes about self trust. But we really need to get interested in who we are and what we do. And I've got 3 questions that I need you to. This is a workshopping episode. I give these questions to my clients and I'm giving them to you because I really want you to sit down and be honest and to help yourself. Sometimes we can be asking the question, like, what's my purpose or what is my thing? But we actually don't do anything different. We actually don't ask better questions. And I'm a big believer, and this is something I teach both my private clients, my one-on-ones, and my masterminders, is ask better questions. Ask better questions. Get really specific about the question that you want answered in life. Get really specific about what is it that you want? Like, what's the information you need? And so these questions that I'm going to share with you, they are going to help with that. So, the first question, have you got your pen and paper? Have you got your phone notes out? Have you got your Google Sheet? I don't care what it is, but I need you to do this properly, not just in your head. And if that means that right now you need to pause this and come back to this episode and make this a part of your self care routine later on today or later on this week, do it. Like, this is an important episode for you and to help you. And if you are someone like me, I feel right now in life, I'm very living. I'm living on purpose. Like, I'm very in tune with what my purpose is. However, I still regularly ask myself these questions. I still regularly sit down and I workshop and I check in with myself, because there have been things that you'll see with the questions that I've continued to do that I thought was part of my purpose. And then I answer these questions and I'm like, that is not a part of me anymore. That is not a part of like my story that I want to create and the life that I want to create. So even if you're listening to this podcast episode and you're thinking, I love what I do, like I don't know, a corporate lawyer, and I've dreamt of this since I was a little girl and I love it. Trust me, still ask yourself these questions because it will help across the board in your life. Okay, we ready? Number one, ask yourself what you are really good at slash what inspires you. I really want to focus on like the last section, the inspiration. You know, something I say all of the time is like, do things that inspire you. Only tap into the things that are truly inspiring, that you can feel in your heart space, are like lighting you up and they feel good and they feel light. They feel good in your soul. It feels good in your bones to do the thing. Like, make a list of all of the things you are really good at. Make a list of all of the things that you are inspired by. And I'll give some some personal examples just to kind of help you. So, one thing that truly inspires me and one thing that I'm good at is teaching people my different frameworks, my teachings, the things that I learn. I teach my clients, I mentor my clients, I coach my clients. I'm really good at it. I'm really good at coming here on the podcast and teaching different frameworks and concepts. So, that is something that I'm good at, number one, but it's also something that hugely inspires me. And this is why I have built the business that I have, because that's inspiring. And so I don't want you to think that just because it's inspiring or you're really good at, there's never going to be times where it may seem difficult or you may lack the motivation, the drive. But being able to do these check ins is exactly why we do it, because then we can adjust, right? So I wouldn't be teaching on everything. Like, I'm not going to sit here and teach you on, I don't know, how to do open heart surgery. I'm not good at it. That doesn't inspire me. I know nothing. Like, just because teaching is something that I'm good at and inspires me, it doesn't mean that I do all facets of teaching. Like, I'm not going to teach you how to build a skyscraper, right? So, do you see where I'm going? Like, this check in, you need to go deeper than just like, I'm good at running. Like, you need to understand what's inspiring, and this is why I put the two different sections in there. Like, what's actually inspiring about the running to you, or like going to the run clubs or hitting these PBs, whatever it may be, and to really understand the difference and know as well, just like I've realized over the years, that this is always forever evolving. Question number two, are we ready? What are you really bad at? What doesn't inspire you? A really simple answer from me is, what doesn't inspire me is cleaning this apartment, cleaning the bathrooms. Okay, I can handle vacuuming. I can even handle doing the washing, but having to clean bathrooms, it doesn't inspire me. I'm not really good at it because it's not inspiring. I don't like it. So what do? I outsource it. Now, am I saying that, okay, if I don't like it or it doesn't inspire me, I need to outsource it? No, not all of the time. Sometimes we actually just want to eliminate it. But if we say like it makes up your life or it's something that is a part of a life. So, for example, in this apartment, there are two bathrooms that makes up a part of my life, that makes up a living in this. This apartment is not only my living space, it operates as my office space. I am here all of the time, right? So this is something I do need to consider. And if it's uninspiring, why am I going to take away from something? Like, imagine right now me teaching you these concepts. I was like, oh, okay, I need to go clean the bathroom instead. Can you see how that can bring me into a really lower vibration? And then when you're in that lower vibration, if you're like in that consistently, that's not going to bring the life that you desire. You're not going to feel in this abundance and be in this belief system that you can create what you want. See how it's like this spiral. So I want you to just write out the things that you're bad at. And on that, what I will say, just because you're bad at them, it doesn't mean that you can't get better at them. It's not about not building skills if that's something you desire. There are been things in business that I wasn't particularly good at, but I had to get better at. And to some degree, I need to find how that inspires me or to do it in an inspiring way. An example when it comes to business is people often start, if they have no experience, they often start and they're really bad at selling, really, really, really bad at selling. So they need to learn that as a skill, but they need to then figure out the most inspiring way. Maybe it's selling by getting on phone calls. Maybe it's selling by creating videos. Maybe it's selling by being in the DMs. Maybe it's sending letters or sending emails. See where I'm going with this? There's different degrees to it. So just because you're bad at it, sometimes we need to actually understand what we're bad at and what's a skill that we need to move the needle in our career, business, relationships, wealth, health, etc. And we need to get better at that. And then we need to find a conduit to make it inspiring for us. But the things that aren't inspiring, like cut it out. There were certain things. So if we go back to mine of like, I feel inspired when I teach. There were certain things over the past couple of years that I used to teach about that weren't inspiring to me. I could still teach it. I still knew it inside and out. It just didn't inspire me. I would almost like recoil. Like I would have a bodily reaction from but being uninspired. And so I cut it out. Like why do I need to teach about it? I may know the topic really well. I may have some demand for it, but like am I going to build this business and what I teach about on things that other people just love all of the time or the things that I truly love as well? So that's just another example of sometimes it's just cutting it out completely or it is outsourcing it, and other things that day to day life, we've got the cleaners. Some people outsource their laundry. Actually, my cleaners started to do that too. Making the bed. It's another thing, as in like changing the sheets. So it's just these small things and whatever capacity that you're at, but just starting the small and big things. We really need to check in with both. And I know this may seem like a really simple exercise so far. We've got one more question. It may seem like a really simple exercise so far, but I promise you it's effective. Everything that I teach you here on the podcast is something that if you do it and you do it to a T and you actually take the time, it's going to be effective. Like I teach you guys concepts that I share with my clients because they work. They've worked for years and they will continue to work because they're timeless concepts. You see a lot of things on social media that are coming up with these new tricks and hacks and tips. They're not timeless. They're not something that you are getting to your next level and you can still use. So, first list, just to kind of recap, number one, what inspires you? What are you really good at? Number two, what doesn't inspire you? What are you bad at? But also remembering that if you want that to be a skill, you can work at it. You just need to recognize that you're bad at it. That is absolutely fine. We're not born and we're perfect and we're a pro at everything. That's just not how it goes. And then number three, what are your best characteristics? And these are the things that you can really, you like know that's a good characteristic of yours. It's a good trait, but it's also like things people have said to you. So to tie into every example that I've given you is I'm really good at talking. I'm also a Gemini. So I'm a yapper. I love to yap. I can talk. This is why I have a podcast. This is why I do many live videos during the week. This is why I create video content. Right now, okay, I'm just going to say at this point in time, I hate creating static posts on Instagram. I hate carousels. I hate it. So it doesn't inspire me. And that is something that's actually a really good example. That's something that I was doing for a while. Like there was a period, maybe a year and a half, where I really, really loved it. Then I was like, this doesn't inspire me. This is like a drag. And I did this list and I was like, well, why am I doing it? Let me create what I wanted to put in that carousel in the thing that inspires me and that I'm really good at, which is talking, communicating, okay, using my yapping to create something that I want. So go and look at what are your best traits or what are your best characteristics? What do people tell you you are good at? I'll give you guys another example. I'm just giving you personal examples so it can kind of get like the juices flowing in your mind for you. Another thing I've always been told is like I'm really good at organizing things or like events or dinners and just like getting shit together. So I have recently started, and if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see a networking event that is a bougie intimate dinner. The Instagram is Wine Dine Obsess. I hosted the first bougie intimate dinner. So 10 people and under last week. It was a raging success. It was so good and it inspired me so much and I loved it. I loved organizing it. I loved creating the Instagram, the branding. I loved getting everything together. I had a chef, I had a content girl. it truly, and you can see if you're watching here on YouTube, you can see it lit me up. And that is something that I've always been told, especially over the past couple of years. Like, you're just really good at organizing shit. Like, people listen to you, you get things done. And so it was like, you know what, on side of business, like, how can I still do something business focused that is sharing my mission as a business owner, as a woman, as a high achieving woman, but how can I bring my other things that I'm really good at into it? And that was one of them. So can you see where I'm going with this list? These three questions. And if you need to like go replay this, do it. But hopefully you've written down the questions. So that last one's like, what are your best characteristics slash traits? What does everyone tell you that you're good at? And I promise you, before you start thinking like, I'm not good at anything, like if I knew I was good at something, I wouldn't be doing it. No, trust me, you have great characteristics, you have great traits, you have things that people have told you before you are really good at, and maybe you're just not good at receiving those compliments, and that's fine, but you need to recognize those, and they are going to help you. And so if we put all of these things together and we start to take action on them, and we focus on the inspiration, we focus what we're good at, we eliminate or outsource what isn't inspiring, what we're not good at, or we build a better skill, we start to then find this pathway of our purpose. Do you see how, going back to the start of this episode, it was, I said, you're already living in your purpose. You're already living it. You're playing it out day to day. It's a thing you're already doing, but you're just not doing it in your favor. You're doing the things that aren't inspiring. You're doing the things because it's for the sake of it. You're doing the things because you learned it. You know, you see this on like, and I know this happens like in real life, but you see this on movies when, you know, like what was High School Musical? Troy, his dad wanted him to go play basketball, but he loved singing. And so like imagine if he like, well, there was that whole storyline, you know, if you've watched High School Musical, but that's like a really, really good example of the fact that he was just going to do basketball, and not like, he was still inspired. He was still really good at it, but he also had this other thing that he wanted to fulfill. And that's a part of his pathway, but he had to put his time and energy into both of those. That's a really good analogy, and I need to work on it. But hopefully, you understand where I'm going with this. Like, he was already living in it, and you can have many different purposes and ways of being. Again, like what I used to think is like you get this box one day and your purpose, right? Like metaphorical box, and your purpose is in it. And sometimes it's many, many different things, and it doesn't have to be one thing. And so it's really important, like Troy Bolton from High School Musical, to recognize what you're good at, what is inspiring you, how can you put time and energy into both, but know that you're living it. You're always going to be shifted into authentically living your best life, as cheesy as that sounds. So I hope this has helped you. I hope this has given you some clarification here on YouTube. Let me know in the comments if this has helped you. Let me know your answers. And over on all of you listening, Spotify, iTunes, all of that, like come and slide into my DMs or like post this on your story. Let me know how you go. Let me know exactly what's come up for you, or maybe things that have really surprised you that you had no idea about. Because I think, like I said, this is something I do at least once a quarter, every single year. And it really just helps me like refocus and not tunnel vision on the problems or things that aren't working, but more focus on the solutions. I'm going to leave it there. I appreciate every single one of you. I hope that you have enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.